Backup plans. Always have a backup plan.
Yes.
These work anywhere. So everybody knows what these are. It's the latest and greatest thing for the last couple of years. So this is called an InReach. It uses Bluetooth to talk with your phone. You can text. You can text on here, but it's a pain in the butt going through the menu to pick each letter. You type away on your phone, send, off it goes, and you can text back and forth. It's not as fast as using your phone because it's not on a cell network. It's using a satellite network. So satellite networks have a long response time, not just because it has to travel long distance, but because the network has splintered service for consumer use. Right? So this will keep trying to send it until the satellite receives it. Right? So it could be 10 minutes. Remember, this antenna has to see the sky. Same thing with this thing. Having it deep down in the bottom of that pocket in your bag is doing no good because it can't send anything out. The antenna has to face the sky.
And not just that, if you're burying that thing in your backpack or down your deep in your pocket or somewhere, say you have a bad crash on your bike, chances are the only thing you're going to be able to reach is somewhere up and around your chest area.
If you can, somewhere up here or right there on your backpack.
The mounts for that attached to your gear? 'Cause I've got mine
There are mounts,
on the
yeah.
bike.
Don't put it on the bike. Because if you wipe out that bike, the bike can go 100 yards that way,
Right.
and you go 100 yards this way, and you're nowhere near to hit that SOS if you're dying.
So those sort of things should be on you,
Yeah.
just for that sort of purpose. So you're riding through the canyons, off the edge. Well, chances are you're not right beside your bike when you finally stop moving. Yeah, we've lost one of these and found it 2 days later because it kept pinging.
It's the mounts are great if you're putting in your car, and you want to drive, and you know there's no cell phone signal, and you still need to use communication.
You should still be a master of zip tieology and hold it on really well as well.
The other thing about the InReach that's really good as well, and I know Spot and the other communicators do it, but I'm a big fan of the InReach, is anybody back at a base camp or at home you can set it to drop waypoints as you're riding along. So you can set it to, let's say, every 10 minutes, it'll send a signal out to through an email service or whatever, and the person on the other end can watch on a map exactly where you are, how fast you're going, or if you've stopped, how long you've been stopped there for. You know, the other person on the other end keeping an eye on you gets an idea of where you are. Or if you're in an emergency situation where you don't need to hit the SOS, you know, like your bike's broken down, you need to be picked up or whatever, that person on the other side can see exactly where you are, and they can just go right to Google Maps or whatever and go boop, and they'll just navigate to where you are and help you out.
Or if you're using the Spot service and you say okay or help, it's going to send it to the email addresses that you've already programmed in before you left. It will give the location signature. They hit on that. It goes to the Spot website, and I don't know if it uses Google Maps, but it goes directly there, and it puts you on the map, and it will put your little breadcrumb on there as well. Right?
We've been testing with it, and we were up pre-riding we were doing a snowmobile rally coming up next month, and Kevin and James are out ripping around on the trail doing a night ride. You know, and when someone's doing a night ride, it's like, okay, the danger level is, you know, gets increased by 50%. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep an eye on you guys, make sure you're tracking. And the whole time I'm sitting in the room watching. And it was, well, if you got it set to every 10 minutes, as long as the thing sees the sky, it transmitted. In this case, where did you have yours sitting? In your backpack?
It was here in the pocket.
It was in a pocket?
Yeah.
It worked. It was great.
Sorry, did you say you prefer Spot or InReach?
I prefer
InReach is
InReach.
better. In that particular case, that was in InReach.
Yeah.
So the other good thing, the new Spot ones have it as well. This 911 button sometimes gets hit accidentally because it's just a deeper button, but you can still hit it wrong.
The new one, you got to peel something.
You got to peel something
Oh, do
off,
you know, yeah?
and these, it's actually locked. You've got to.
Yeah.
Really-
And then it still asks you, which
sure?
I'm not too sure if I like that option, but it still asks you, are you sure you want to do that? But the Bluetooth capability on this to sync with your smartphone is incredible, because once it's set to your smartphone, I can leave this in my backpack, and I just pull up my phone, and okay, there's my InReach, da-da-da, and you can text just like your phone, so quickly. The only thing you're limited to is
200.
something, yeah, 200 characters or whatever per text. You can also post on social media. Besides the fact that that's cool, the only other thing I could possibly see that being is if you wanted to reach out to a large mass of people. Let's say you got 500 friends in your Facebook account, and you want to tell all those 500 people, I'm here. You know, I guess that's a good way of doing, you know, mass communication.
Is the subscription fee similar for both? Because I know for
Yeah.
Spot it's expensive, $250 US a year.
No, that's the great thing about the
This
InReach.
is per month, and it's, you buy a plan that is dependent, well, you set it up. So how many messages do you figure you're gonna be sending out? Is what do you figure? So, what is it, 30?
It's $29.95, right? Gets you something like 100 or 150 messages or something like that. I don't quote me exactly, but it's a decent plan.
Probably fine.
Yeah, I can probably find, yeah, I can probably, yeah.
The price, what's the cost?
So it's $29.90 the cost to buy this?
Yeah.
300-ish?
Yeah,
Yeah.
300 for the unit,
Um,
then subscription.
You get a subscription, okay? With the Spot, you're locked in for the year, as far as I know. You pay
Yeah.
this a large amount of money, and that's it. You're just stuck with it. This you can go on a month-to-month basis. So if you're not, you know, for example, we're not doing anything active right now, I shut mine down. And then when I'm ready to go on my trip, I go online, I activate it. It goes by month. So then it'll activate it for 1 month. And then if I decide after I'm done doing the snow down event, right, I don't have anything for 3 more months, I shut it down. Just to keep my subscription is $5 a month. And then when I'm ready to activate it again, I just go online and activate it. That's one of the real big differences between that and
And you
Spot.
can change your plan up and down as well.
Yeah. Again, I mean, we're not here to sell InReaches, but there we go. So 16 per month includes 0 text messages, 0 tracking messages, and
Just SOS.
just like an SOS, right? And then a 95-cent message and a 25-cent track. So the tracks is also, each time you lay a waypoint down, right, it'll cost you 25 cents. But I use the $30 a month, right? And then I get 100 messages, 200 tracking messages, which means the waypoints, right? I have yet to go over this, and we use it a lot. Yeah, like,
And can you send and receive
Yep.
text messages?
Yes.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can get
Right,
special.
so
And the SOS guys will do that too. If you hit the SOS button, they'll send the chopper, but they'll also text you back saying what's wrong.
more emergency things. First aid kit, bandage, whether you actually hurt yourself or you gotta hold some gauze in place, whatever. It'd be handy if at least one person in your group has taken a St. John's course of some description, the first responder course. It's just how to deal with breaks and cuts, minor things where you don't have to hit the 911. Try to be self-sufficient within your group. Know some things, know some tricks. If you've got a big bike, try to set your tank bag up for a charging unit. So a lot of them will have, can't see it on this one, a little port coming in where you can run some power. If failing that, you can charge all your stuff off of another battery. You can boost your bike with this battery. You can boost a truck with this battery. There's a smaller version as well, a little bit lighter, but this pack is right in the middle. You can charge any device you got going, right? And actually, you can charge up to 3 devices at the same time. And it's a 2 amp charge, so you can charge it up quick. Recharge it with either the wall plug or the vehicle plug. And actually, the neat feature, well, so it's got a flashlight as well. If I can turn it on. Right. A really powerful flashlight.
SOS.
Strobe, SOS. Off. Boost. Laptop, 19 volts. 5 volts for all those small items, phones and whatever. 12 volt.
Have you ever used one of those to boost, Kevin? I have
Yeah.
those downstairs, and we've never actually pulled one out.
Yeah, actually all this week I've had it at work and we've been boosting cars with it.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah?
We tried to boost a diesel truck and it wouldn't go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. That's interesting.
That's well beyond its
Yeah.
capability. I have read the manual, and it's beyond that. Okay.
I said you can get a bigger one that's.
Yeah, there's another one,
50
one size larger than that, and they say it's good for diesel, but my diesel's got two 700 amp batteries in it, and I really have a hard time seeing how this
Yeah,
can
that's
replace that.
Yeah.
So it's meant to supplement what you've already got. So it's got 200 amp output on here, right, for boosting.
What make is that? What is it?
This is out by anti-gravity. What is it, 4 sizes? Right?
Yeah, this, they got a bunch of different.
3 or 4. You know what? I have them all downstairs.
Yeah.
One of each side.
So this one's kind of middle of the road. Right, so the rest is all, you know, handy camping things. This cord is incredibly strong. If you were to do a couple strands of that, you could tow a bike with it. Right? There's parachute cord as well. It's really, really strong. Super lightweight. You can retrieve a person with this from down a hill, right? Tie that off to the belt and pull. It'll work. So it doesn't take any room. If you're doing any extensive camping, you're gonna have real camping gear as well. But things like that you can carry whether you're camping or not. Who knows what you might need it for. Duct tape. Not the whole roll. You don't need to carry the whole damn roll, but half a roll, crush it down. There's a lot of duct tape there. Buy the good stuff, not dollar store duct tape. It will let you down. Strapping, a real tow rope or a strap like that. You can lift your bike in the air with that. Rock straps, extremely handy for tying down stuff. You cinch it and put a bunch of preload on it so that on all those bumps on that back road or that trail, this is taking up the slack as your sleeping bag moves around behind you and you don't realize it. This keeps taking up the slack and the sleeping bag will still be there when you get to the end of the trail, right? These work very well. Dewatering a bike. Let's say your buddy dares you to cross that stream, or he does it successfully and you don't. Has anybody watered out a bike? Okay. Did you actually get it running again, or by yourself? Okay, so you kind of have to know how badly you watered it, or realize that you're doomed and shut it off before it goes under. That helps a lot. Keeps the water out of the cylinder. Depending on how you went down, you're gonna do various stages of dewatering. If you don't have anything in your cylinder, it's easy, but you still got to empty out your exhaust pipe before you try and start it, or it'll never run. So at least tip the bike up, empty the exhaust, drop it on its side, empty the air box, have a look at it. If you can, pull back your air filter, look inside. It's not even wet in there. Confident. Don't wail away on the electric start until you know for sure that this thing's going to turn over. Right? If you've got a center stand, put it on the center stand, put it in second or third gear, and turn it over by hand. Okay, I'm confident that the bike is not locked up. Right? If it is, you can turn it back a bit, and you might get it coming back through the carb, and then you can just tip the bike again. To avoid actually pulling a plug, because sometimes the plugs are hard to get at. Even a wet plug will fire if you get enough air flushing by it. You can get it running. Try getting it going before you pull the plug out. If you've got enough guys, you can tip it up on the rear wheel, forward, and rear. Then everything's completely empty.
It all depends on the severity,
Yeah.
how bad. I mean, I've watered out where I get full hydro lock. I can't kick the bike over, and there was nothing I could do, no matter how much I tipped it up and down. You know, sometimes the rolling the wheel, that's great until you run into a guy who's got a recluse. You are not doing anything. Right? Does everyone know what a recluse is? It's a clutchless
Auto
system,
clutch.
auto clutch type of thing, right? So
It only engages when there's revs.
So
If
you-
you turn that wheel all the way
Right.
long, you're not, it's not gonna gauge.
So, you know, you sometimes, yeah, you gotta pull that plug out and get that bike right up and get all the water out of it. The other issue too, I mean, depending on the system, whether it's carbureted or if it's fuel injected or whatnot, you gotta remember if you got water in it, chances are it was probably swamp water or dirty water. It's not like you just grabbed your faucet and started pouring nice fresh water to it. So there's gonna be grit, there's gonna be dirt and mud in there. Next, you know, it could clog up a pilot jet or whatever. Again, it's getting it to the point where you want to run it. I've gotten mine where I had to take the plug out, and once the plug's out, I didn't tip it. I used my electric start, and I just saw the water flying out of the thing, and just got it to the point where I thought it was okay. Screwed the plug back in, sat there till the battery was dead, and then eventually kicked it over. Hey, look, great, it's running. Boy, did it run like a bag of dirt for the first 15 minutes. And then by the time I got it to the road and was able to open it up and just get, you know, I was able to slough, luckily, whatever was in there out. Sometimes you can't. At that point, you just want to get to a good dry, you know, location where you can get it torn apart and figure what your problem is.
If you've got a carburetor, it's a good idea to empty out the float bowl,
Yeah.
because the water's gonna drop to the bottom. So know how to purge your float bowl. Another reason to get to know your bike. If your bike, so if you've had to pull a plug, you had water in the cylinder, you actually do manage to get it running, but it's hardly running, stop, do the float bowl thing, and if you've still got the tank off, or you can get the tank off quickly, pull the plug again, put some oil down in there, and it may help your rings to seat, because your compression is really low, because you've completely washed it on the inside.
Another really good thing is if you're in a situation where you have to take your tank off and separate your fuel line, make sure you got a nice clean piece of plastic or cellophane and elastic, and the first thing you do is you cover up that fuel line. So no further dirt from you moving the tank off falls into your fuel line and gets all caught up into your system. You know, the second that you get that off, you can cover it up from any more dirt getting in through the line. So you might be great, you might de-water the bike and everything's kind of gone through, and then all of a sudden that one piece of dirt that got in your line, if you don't have a filter, that'll just get stuck in there again, and then you're wondering, my bike. Cover up your fuel line.
Or as you pick up that tank, purge it a little bit, just to clean that line.
Well, in my case, I take the line off of the tank, right? And opposed from the carburetor.
Okay.
So I got a big line sitting there, just asking for dirt to fly in.
Yeah. 'Cause generally your frame isn't the neatest, cleanest thing. You're rubbing back and forth, knocking junk.
Yeah.
Full